YouTubers. How are you today? Well, I gotta say, this is almost bullshit. A lot of the things we're taught as kids. I mean, really. Like I said in my last video, God put food on this planet for us to eat. And I'm almost just amazed by how the government or people in general scare us, into thinking that, oh, this food's gonna kill us, or this food's bad, or this and that. And I mean, really, I eat food all the time, mainly a lot of candy, but that's the thing. I mean, I eat it, and yet I still maintain about 180, 185, about 190. And hey, I'm not in any particular diet. I eat what I want. I eat when I want. And that's just the way it is. But anyway, as people, I think we've become more obsessed with health. And there is something fundamentally radically unhealthy about all this because we don't seem to be seeking more exuberance in living as much as starving, starving off failure or putting off dying or whatever you want to call it. I mean, we've lost all confidence in the human body, because it is really adaptable. Because what we think is healthy is so often contradicted by the FDA, the CSPI, or the AMA, or the American Heart Association, or you name it. It would be nice if the Food and Drug Administration stopped issuing all these warnings about toxic substances in our foods, because it is so bad. I mean, I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and neither her or I could figure out, you know, we couldn't name one or two things still safe to eat, now because of the way that they all try to condemn or demonize the food, you know what I mean? But yet, and it also is most amazing is the research they say they did. Well, more often than not, they're telling the good part, of the project. And like I said, I'm not saying they're lying. They're just kind of withholding certain things because it's kind of like, well, you didn't, like if you ask a person a question and later on they say something else, I'm like, well, you didn't ask me that kind of thing. But they never mention the bad that happened, and it is easy to see why. I mean, because they don't do that because then people, may not buy what they're selling, and in turn the government will stop funding them, or with all the research they say, meat is bad. Well, my response is, like I said, red meat's not bad for you. You know, I mean, really. Well, I've never seen a sick-looking tiger, I can tell you that much. Or kind of like the classical one, the egg yolk is bad for your cholesterol. Well, I worked at the Portland's Veterans Hospital for a period of time, a couple of years ago. And, a lot of the times, believe it or not, I saw half the heart attack victims have normal or low cholesterol, as a matter of fact. And I've also even read some, I've even done my research a little bit, and I've read autopsies performed on heart attack victims routinely reveal plague-filled arteries in people whose cholesterol was as low, was low, and in some cases as low as 115, which the average is, I think, about 200, if I'm not mistaken. So if one is 115, that's, I mean, it raises suspicions, you know what I'm saying? So, and also when they say you're 30 pounds overweight, it's extremely bad for your health, well, my response is, being fat is not in and of itself bad for your health. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, according to statistics, I'm still, a little bit overweight myself. And anyway, I mean, the behaviors that make you fat, is eating excessively, or not getting any exercise can also ruin your health. And that is why being fat is associated with bad health, or at least from what I've discovered. But it is entirely possible to be fat and healthy, and it really is. And that's why being fat is, I mean, and that's why being fat is associated with bad health and everything, but it is also possible to be thin while developing type 2 diabetes and heart disease, because it's kind of like I've got an aunt, that has got a bad heart, and she's eats right and she exercises, but she still does have a bad heart nonetheless. And anyway, I mean, sooner or later there will be a church. Mark my words, there will be a church for food and health. It'll be called the Church of the Holy Cabbage. Welcome to the Church of the Holy Cabbage. Let us pray. you know? So to those who say that we should completely cut out meat, or something like that from our diets and consume nothing but fruits and vegetables. Well, my response is, I mean, fruits and vegetables, are interesting and a must in a diet, and I'll be the first to admit this. But they do lack a sense, of purpose when unaccompanied by a good cut of meat. I mean, what can I say? I like steak, you know. And anyway, it never stops to make me laugh. How everything I eat has been has been proved by some doctor or other to be deadly poison, and everything I don't eat has been proved to be indispensable for life. It, and I don't know, but I go on marching on. Still breathing. My heart's still beating. Still got a pulse. You know, or how the government says kids should drink low-fat milk. Well, for example, and now look at us. I mean, the number of kids with ADD, ADHD is almost as high as people with heart failure. Or we should drink condensed milk because it's healthy for you. Well, my response is condensed milk is wonderful, but yet I don't see how they can get a cow to sit down on those little cans. Call it what you will. And when it comes to butter versus margarine, well, I trust cows more than chemists. I do. Also, the FDA, the CSPI, or the government basically has made fast food the equivalent of to pornography, nutritionally speaking, mind you. And because they'll make you believe eating fast food will give you cancer, or that going to a great restaurant and having lobster, will ruin your diet and make you fat. You know, and my great grandma used to say, great restaurants and fast food are, of course, nothing but mouth brothels. So there's no point in going to them if you intend to keep your belt buckled. You know. So in short, who cares? You know, just eat and enjoy your food, and instead of hating it, as the Greeks said, let thy food be thy medicine be thy food. Life's too short. Just enjoy life. Food for thought. Tell me what you think. God bless.